Hey there, toy collector friends and mask fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I am the Triple TC, that's the time traveling toy collector. And in this video, we are looking at the latest arrival from the loyal subjects who have recently received the license from Hasbro to produce mask figures and vehicles and things. And it's been a mixed bag, generally, globally, in terms of how well it's been received. The desire to receive it well is most definitely there, but internationally there have been quite a few QA issues with some of the vehicles. I have to admit, the three that I've received previously to this one have been okay once I've learned how to handle them. There's been some issues that have been my issues in terms of knowing how to handle and treat them, and I think once you know how to handle and treat them, that makes life a little bit easier for you. That said, there's no forgiving or excusing real major flaws, and the one that seems to have had the most number of major flaws globally has been the vehicle previously known as Rhino, which is the mobile defense unit, which has now literally today just arrived. So I'm getting this filmed late at night so I can get this out to you, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story while I do this, because I remember when I got the original Rhino, I got it for Christmas, and I got it at the same Christmas where I got the motorized Triptychon slap bang in the latter half of the 1980s, and I remember getting them, so they were both very, very close to my heart. And one of the things I loved about this was the box, both the box, obviously the vehicle itself and the toy itself, but the box art, and I would devour boxes. Now, I don't know about yourself, I would devour boxes. I loved reading everything. I loved reading anyway. Reading was always really important to me, so I took any opportunity to read new stuff and acquire interesting insights into stuff. So toys which had lots of stuff on the box, Mask was a good example, but Star Wars 2, G.I. Joe sometimes, I devoured it. And this is the sort of box I would have loved. Now, it's got a couple of design curiosities, but I'll come on to those in a second. Artwork here, fantastic. Multiple languages, par for the course. Calling it Mobile Defense Unit because we can't call it Rhino. I don't really know why we can't call it Rhino, because it was named after the animal. It's not named after a Marvel character. It's named after the powerful powerhouse of a beast, you know, a rhino. So I don't really, I'm not sure what the issue is there. I had the same issue with not being able to use the word venom for something as well. Well, for this, actually, for Mask, and also for Transformers. So again, I have copyright phobia, clearly, but I love this because you've got so much to look at. You've got the tractor rig that changes to mobile defense unit and back again. You've got this wonderful artwork that screams 1980s. It really does. Then over this side we've got, because this is the San Diego Comic-Con version, it's got the T-Bob and Scott Tracker bonus inclusion. It's got Matt Tracker with the two Ultra Flash masks and Bruce Sato with the two lifter masks. Interesting that they've got renders here rather than pictures of the actual figures. So, okay. But we'll, you know, I don't know, I'm not sure why they've done that, but there we go. So on the top, we've got a picture of Rhino doing its business, converting into the defense mode, complete with all the blast effects and so on and so forth, which of course we didn't get in the original. But this box just carries on. It's the box that keeps on giving. So on this side, I'm just going to sort of go a bit handheld here. This side, we've got a bit more in terms of some of the special features. So that's lovely. Just pop that down there, because then we go round to the other side and we've got more on the special features. Now again, some of it's a little bit repetitive. I'm not even going to attempt to do this because a lot of people have said it just doesn't work, so I'm not going to put myself in a position where it's going to wind me up. But we've also got stuff on the bottom. So we've got more pictures and shenanigans of the various things that it can do there. And then of course we have the reverse whoosh of the box, where we have the full-on render. But again, these are digital renders of the characters. You can see those aren't those aren't actually the figures. The vehicle is, I would say, a photo, I would say, but the figures there look like digital renders, unless you think I'm going mad. I mean, it's a short trip, but again, you can see all the lovely detailing on this box. And again, we get smoke effects for the smokestacks. We get blast effects for them when they become guns. It has got a slightly different detailing because it's the San Diego version. I'm going to show you what I meant about the box being a bit weird. So you can see here, sorry about the in and out of focus as I manipulate it, the box here has two sellotaped tab bits here, so you can open it from the top. Where it's a little peculiar is that that's duplicated on the bottom. There's two more stuck down areas there, which is a little odd. It's a little odd because it makes me worry that the bottom might fall out of my box, which would not make me particularly happy. So I'm nervous. I'm not going to lie to you. This has a for lots of reasons. I mean, I've said I got it for Christmas, but that Christmas is one that sticks in my head for a variety of personal reasons. So I have a very large emotional connection to this particular toy, the original certainly of this toy. So I need this not to be disrespectful to that memory. Now, I appreciate that there might be plastic issues. I'm worried about the stickers. I'm worried about smokestacks not staying in place. I'm not so worried about doors staying shut, because I remember my doors never stayed shut on this. The only doors I think that ever stayed shut properly were on Thunderhawk and on Firecracker. Personal experience. So mileage may vary. The smokes, we know these are going to be upside down. These oil canisters, it's a given. Even the plastic casing that it comes in has been moulded to accommodate them being attached upside down. And I don't care about that. If someone hadn't told me they were upside down, would I have noticed? If people hadn't made a fuss online about them being upside down, and I get it, if it's not right, you should make a fuss. This isn't cheap. But if no one had said it, I would be none the wiser that it's upside down. And that is 100% the truth. I'm just being honest. It would not have been, that would not have registered to me that they were upside down. I don't know why they're upside down. I don't know how that's happened, but they are. So I'm very nervous and very excited in equal measure, as you can probably imagine. So we're just cutting into this. I've not looked inside, obviously. Let me just adjust this slightly. I'm assuming it's going to be in the same sort of massive plastic clamshell type of approach that we've... There's not side ones, is there? No. That we've seen... Here we go. I am, as I say, I'm quite nervous. I need it to not mess with my childhood too much. It's actually a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be. What's that? I think that's... yeah, so already, here is the mobile defence instructions and the dreaded stickers that I hear are absolute shit show, but we shall see. Let's get this out. Well, again, I'm going to put this here and get rid of the big box. And just lower this down slightly. And folks, I'm going to tell you, at this stage in the game, it does look good. It does look good. So we've got, I can't tell what that is just yet, but there is something there. Maybe that's the smoke effects. That might be the smoke effects. So we've got all of this here. We've got the figures, we've got Matt, and we've got Bruce. We've got Lifter. We've got Ultra Flash. We've got, I don't know what that is, but might just be the thing that holds it in place, actually. It might not be anything. T-Bob. Never had T-Bob and Scott. I suppose, now I'm going to sort of say something and nothing here. I suppose I'm a bit surprised on one hand that we didn't get Scott and T-Bob on a card, like a carded figure set, because I think that's how they were originally released, because they didn't come with a, you know, a set like this. But by the same token, I can see why that would be additional expenditure. And you know what? I think we spent enough money. So I can see why, if they could fit it in here, like a special edition of this, I'm glad that they did it. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else of note before I open it. There isn't really that I can see, so I'm going to lie this down, because I think if I try and take the lid off, I don't know if it's stuck. They haven't all been. Oh, it is. It is. It is stuck on the side. So again, it's just a little bit of tape, so it's nothing too onerous. He says, trying to cut through it. Is it both sides? Yes, yeah, there's one on both sides, which is nice. So that's a little bit of additional security. So I'm saying all these very positive things. This tape is extremely hard to... Yeah, this side does not want me to gain access to the toy. Although actually, maybe I can lift the tape off there. I don't know why it's being so defensive. You know, this is your destiny, to be opened and played with on a global stage. Come on. There we are. Oopsie. Right. So I'm going to try and do this without having to... So that's this. Let's pop this over here. I can't actually articulate how nervous I am about some of this. Right, so let's just get the masks out first where I can. So here we have, now there were some complaints about the interior of these not being finished off and it being a problem. Both of these seem to be fine on the interior of these. So here we have Lifter, the short version of Lifter, and we also have it with the actual circular Lifter anti-gravity effects. And so far they look quite good. So let's pop them here while we just lift out Bruce. Now again, Bruce actually does look like he used to look. We've got the arm articulation that we like to see. The head does turn. I'm very conscious that I'm trying to piece together all the various reports that I've heard of various things that have happened, like heads breaking off, etc. And I know Bruce has also had some reports of legs snapping. So the knees seem to work. I'm a bit reluctant to try and move anything else, purely because I think this was part of the problem here, was that this moulded in piece caused him some sort of problems. You know what though, if he's driving the rear vehicle part, he's doing it standing up. I know there's no seat, so that won't be a problem for him. Is that gonna fit, or am I gonna have, are we having dramas already? Well, that's a tight fit, and I'm going to try not to push it too hard because I don't want to pull his head off, which I know sounds like a ridiculous thing to say. This one is not a problem, goes straight on. And there's Lifter, which, as I say, goes straight on, no problems at all. Does it come straight off with no problems at all? Let's hope it does. See, now childhood me would just slam it on and pull it back off again. Yeah, it's really, look at that. Can you see? You probably can't. You can see just how tight that is going into getting his head in there. I'm not entirely sure that it would even fit, but we've got the other one. So there's Bruce. He actually looks the part. Again, overall very nice. I will tease his legs a little bit, because the last thing I want is to have to be a victim of, yeah, so that's, there is the maneuverability there. This one I'm slightly more concerned about, because you know, the plus side is you can learn from other people's disasters. So Bruce is going to sit there. We can get Rhino gear mat tracker out. looking very blonde here. We've got the arm articulation is cool. There's no elbows, but everything moves as you would hope that it would. I don't know that his legs are problematic, so I'm being brave and just giving them a go. Yep, yeehaw. There is some detailing on his leg there, but it's enough. The holster doesn't cause us any compromise. Oh, I didn't do the backs of Bruce, did I? Yeah, so there's the back of Bruce alongside the back of Matt. I think they look, we've got little, yeah, we've got the little pegs. They don't look bad at all. Let's get, so here is Ultra Flash complete with an Ultra Flash coming off of it. Let's see, that seems all clear in there. Yep, that sits quite nicely on Matt there. Come on, focus for me. Why aren't you focusing for me? Do as you're told. Oh, there we go. So yeah, so that looks quite good. Let's try, comes off quite easily. And so let's see if we can get out the other Ultra Flash. So this is the smaller, this is the shorter version, but without the effect. Again, it's very nicely done. Oh, and that sits on his, yeah, that sits on him really easily. Very nice, very good. And no stress is taking it off. So it's just Bruce and his short version that currently causes me some heart problems. Here's Scott. Never had Scott. He doesn't look very well. He's got a funny colour about him, and his neck needs a good wash. So I don't know what that's about. Head articulation is limited. Scott only, it seems, has, oh, hang on, before I even, yep, no, he does have forward and back articulation, but no other articulation. Not sure why that arm is bent that way. He also only has articulation at his hips, so nothing at his knees. So Scott, for some reason, is very under articulated, which is odd. There's the back. Pockets on the back of his jeans, that's a nice touch. Shoes matching his top, very cartoony, as you'd expect, I suppose. Here comes T-Bob, everyone's favourite robot. You don't have to say anything about that. Are these in the outward position? Yeah, so these rotate a bit. They actually feel extremely loose, just for the record. The head rotates, that's lovely. That's how he gets about, and that should collapse down. We can pop Scott on there. I understand again from other people's experiences that him having his feet on there is not easy, because it forces you to push his legs together, which, to repeat, is not easy. Scott doesn't like to keep his legs together for whatever reason. But if you can get one on there, can't even get one on there. Let's try getting that one on there. The pegs aren't that shallow, so it should be possible to get him on there. I don't know why there's the resistance. That might be, no, we're getting there. No, might have to do some hot water treatment with Scott's legs just to get them, what have we got written here? Do not close. Doesn't say that. But yeah, so presumably there'll be a way to get his feet with perseverance onto T-Bob. It's probably just going to be one of those, yeah, they just ping straight off. So that's a wee bit annoying, but you know, we are where we are. I'm hoping that T-Bob doesn't yellow either. Does he close? No, just thought I'd check in case he popped down. But so those are the figures. You can see that I'm sort of doing things in reverse order. Here are the blast effects. I've just noticed this one's got a sort of wobbly, wibbly, bendy end. They're actually quite fluid on the end, but that's probably a safety measure. This one particularly, this one less so. But yeah, nice blast effects. Moving along over here, we have the TV-SAT missile. In this metallic gunmetal grey. Don't fall off. Here we have, it's curious. Well, that's an interesting twist. Bear with me 2 seconds in case I... Okay. So I only have one smoke effect that I can see. Let me tilt this forwards in case I'm missing it. I don't seem to be missing it. I don't think it's there. Yeah, so I only have one smoke effect, so that's interesting. Oh no, hang on. I tell you a lie. It's dropped in there. Okay, so it's dropped in. So there's the second smoke effect. This is the winch in the back here, which I'm ignoring. Nothing else in there. Some interesting coloration there, but we're gonna ditch that for a second. You're not gonna sit on there, are you? Right, so now we get rid of that bit of plastic. Right, you get up there. Now, this is, of course, the big test, isn't it? Let's be honest. This is the big test. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Now, we've all heard, we've all seen, and we've all listened to other videos. I don't, you know, I know that I'm not the first. I know I'm not your first looking at this. I have to say, my initial reaction is, it looks phenomenal and it feels like it's the toy from the 80s. That's my initial reaction, having it in hand and out of the box. Now, if I pick it up, it doesn't feel very heavy, but then I don't recall it actually ever feeling very heavy. Now, this is, again, one of the ones that's upside down. They're both upside down. Now, there's been concerns about this section being wibbly wobbly and loose. I'm shaking that and I'm not getting wibbly wobbly and loose. So I don't know if I've just struck it lucky or they've done some amendments before the international selling, but mine is not wibbly wobbly and loose. We know it has dual and independent, it says the flaps there. We've got this that opens, please be secure. That looks like it's just going to fall backwards on itself. But presumably we can then insert Bruce in there. And he can, I know that there's lots of debates about the chair, but it looks to me much more sensible if he stands there operating it on his feet, rather than faffing about trying to get him to sit down. But that was just me trying to test that out. I almost feel like what I'm going to do now is run through the issues to see if I've got them, which sounds terrible, doesn't it? So this is the rotating scanner thing. Mine is really stiff, actually, so I'll take that as really stiff. Let me just pull this off. Yep, it unclasps relatively easily, but then I sort of would hope that it would. It has the independent suspension, the dual suspension there. It's got the cannons on the front. It's got the flippy floppy thing on the back. I did take out the, there it is. I was going to say it flew out when I was trying to be clever. There's the winch thing, which I think fits, looking at the pictures, I think that fits in. I could be lying to everybody. I think it fits in like that, although it doesn't look like it wants to fit in at all, which is interesting. I might check out the instructions before I find out I'm doing something hideously wrong. But, oh no, maybe it goes in that way. I don't honestly know what I'm doing. Rather obviously, I think. Does it go in that way? Maybe it goes in that way. I thought the silver thing was to the top there. Well, I think it goes in like that. There you are. That's it. I think that's it. I'm not convinced that it's it, but I think that's it. But I'll correct that later if necessary. I love the detailing on the side here. You can see the rivets and the sort of mechanical detailing. There's the vibration guns, that also serve as the connective tissue. So that seems to be okay. So now we have the main event. Now, issues with this, known issues with this, are hair trigger on the RAM at the front. Now, I will just say this before we do anything else. The chrome on this looks amazing. The vac metal, or whatever we want to call it these days, it really does look absolutely amazing. Now, this isn't flush, but there is a little sort of nubby thing that it should connect on. So I'm going to see if I can, if I activate it. The buttons are here on the back. I think it's this one. Yeah, if I activate, I was just doing that, do it gently. Because what I want to know is whether or not it goes back in again. So you can see that there's some nice detailing here on the front there. We've got this prefixed sticker there. And then this, so this is the test now. We put it back in, does it all line up and connect and stay shut? Well, so far so good. And then if I actually press it without me stopping it, yep, that's quite good. I'm just going to try and see if I can adjust it in that way and see if that'll hold it better. See now, by angling it in like that, that's gone straight in and is a much better way of holding it. So it is actually now flush. So that is no longer a problem of mine. I thought it might be, but apparently it isn't. So that's good. Let's check the doors out. They do feel quite loose, but they don't feel any dissimilar. Let's see what the cabin's like. So the cabin's all right. So we've got a nice little dashboard. You can see some of the detailing there, gear stick, all of that stuff. Nice dials on the thing there. The door. So it doesn't, there's no tab to shut it, but equally it doesn't fall open. This is staying relatively in place. I know that was an issue. This one is staying in place. This door, same thing. You can get a better look at that there. This is the ejector seat button. So this will push this out, all being well. Let's see. Stand by for action. Well, that worked. Does it click back in with ease? Yes, it does. Does this? Oh, that now. Oh, hello. Now what? Now what is happening? Okay. So you just got to push it in and mean it. Okay. So again, a bit like Switchblade, you've got to watch where you're putting your fingers, because if you put your fingers in the wrong place, things will move. That's not uncommon with stuff, is it? Now, then this should pull back. This is all from memory. I don't even need to look. That will flip up. This flips down. Then we've got our missile. We've got our computer control area in here, which feeds straight through into the main cabin. That's all pre-stickered up. Very nice too. I think that's Thunderhawk on there by the looks of things. That's all very nice. So far, that looks okay. Now these are supposed to pull out to the side, if I remember. There you go. Yeah, this is not a big enough platform for this because it's a big old beast. Pull these down to the side. Just as an FYI, they are staying in place. If I then attach this and attach this, I'm conscious I haven't attached the smoke effects, but that can wait. So they're on there. Okay. That works. That looks nice. The TV sat missile should fit and click into place, he says there, and it has. Okay, shall we see if we can fire it? That should be the knob, the little release button there. Let's see how that goes. I'm putting my hand in to try and catch it, prevent it from going mental if it fires too high. Well, it fires pretty well, so that's impressive. I liked that. Oopsie. Yeah, so I'm gonna do it, guys. I'm gonna go on record and say, so far, everything seems to be working on mine. the bits that should be tight appear to be tight. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am handling it carefully, but then you know what, at the price of this, I would handle it carefully, because this isn't a toy price. You know, this is an expensive collector's piece price. Now, let's just pop these in just to see how they look. Because this, I think it's this one, but it actually springs into place really well. This one, this was the one I was worried about, I think. So let's pop these in, and I'll be honest, I think that smoke effect looks quite good. So let's check where we are. The grill, the front battering ram works. Ejector seat works. Let's try putting it back in and see if it'll hold. Just going to get it right. So that has to go in, because, you know, not unreasonably, you do actually have to get it in properly. So that's in there. So now it's in. I'm giving it a shake, sorry. It's not, I'll say if you give it too much of a shake, it does start to fall off, or it falls out, it falls backwards a bit. So it starts to become a bit loose. But to be fair, I'm shaking it. If I'm not shaking it, that isn't happening. So it's a little bit of a nonsense. So I can't really hold them accountable for that coming loose there, because I was shaking it. Let's be honest. So smokestack seemed to be okay. As I say, this is the one that's that's known to be problematic, although it was this one on mine. Now, I don't know whether there's also scope to push them back in, because you see, one of the things that I remember with this is to activate these, you pull them out and down. And what they don't seem to do is they don't naturally go straight back in when you put them back up again. So there is an element of you have to push them in. And I wonder whether that pushing them in just gives it that extra bit of static friction that holds it in place, if you know what I mean. But certainly, looking at this so far, and I'm really conscious of saying this out loud, but mine seems to be okay. I seem to have had a run of successful mask vehicles. So again, it's a bit big for this platform. So I'll think of something else for this. Let's just drop down slightly so you can get that. But yeah, so complete with the likes of Matt. We've got Bruce. Oh yeah, I haven't actually tested to see if they will stand up, have I? No reason why they won't, but let's explore every avenue. Oh yeah, he's standing up. Let's see if Scott will stand up. And we know, I was going to say, we know T-Bob will stand up, so there's T-Bob. But yeah, so here's Scott. So Scott does stand up. So those are the 4 figures that we get with this. So my only sort of technical issue currently, out of everything, is Bruce's head fitting in the lifter mask. And I'm not going to force it, because it really looks like it's too tight. So I might have to do something about that. I'm not sure what I'll do about it, but I'll see what I can do. But the same isn't the case when it comes to his lifter mask with the actual lifter effect on it. So that's okay. Let's just take that off just to prove that it's okay. His head's still there, yeah. And we already know that Matt can fit Ultra Flash, no problem. Okay, so what's left for me to do is the stickers, and we know that the stickers are also notoriously extremely problematic. So I'm just opening the little baggie that the instructions are in. So bear with. So sticker sheet, which I always hate anyway because I was never very good at it. And here we have mobile defense rig. law subjects. Let's just have a little look to see if there's anything in here that I've ignored. So we've got the information about the masks, the label placement. Well, I'll do that in a second. Vehicle operations, that's about the hatch opening and closing. Rocket into rocket launcher, side sleeper compartment, forward position, passenger seat back in, grid, radar dish. I can't see anything that I've missed that's of particular. What's D? Control center rocket launcher. Oh yeah, that's fine, that's what we've done. That ejector seat, we've done that. That's just about activating the stuff. Yeah, so a cursory look around this. I don't think we've missed anything. And we've got the reattaching of the parts should anything come off. T-bob converting. Oh, his arms do come out. Oh, hang on, let me look at that. I thought it was the other way around. I thought his arms went in, but apparently they come out further. You know that thing where you think, I don't believe you. Oh, yes, they do. They do. They really do, actually. Really, really, really do. So there's quite a bit of extension there for T-Bob's arms for Scott to hold on to, although his arms aren't designed to enable him to hold on. So that's for him to use when he's in scooter mode. So, okay, that's good to know. And, yeah, you tweak them a little bit to get them to go back inside, but once you do, they do. So, all in all, I'm still taking deep breaths, but all in all, this is looking quite positive. Can you believe? Can you actually believe it? So I'm going to step away now and put the stickers on, because I'm not going to do that on camera because it's far too stressful. I note this has happened because I've done a lot of manhandling, so that's popped out there, but seems to be okay once I press it back in, so that's fine. And it's also clearly not on a hair trigger, so that's also fine. This door looks like it's open, but again, that was an issue. I had that issue with the original. I'm not saying they shouldn't have fixed it. I'm not saying they shouldn't have fixed it. If it was an issue, then it shouldn't be an issue now. Blah blah blah. But actually, it's not a huge issue. Again, anything I say around that is going to make me sound a bit like a law subjects apologist. But actually, when you're taking it into action, I have the doors open, and then in positions, the doors are open so to allow access to the cockpit area there. So I can't in good conscience kind of go, yeah, that's really awful that it doesn't quite shut. It's a sort of replica of a 1980s toy, and you've kind of got to decide whether you go, I want it to be a replica of my 1980s toy, in which case there are certain concessions you have to accept, because that's how the toys were in the 80s. Or you go, I kind of want an updated version of the toys I had in the 80s, but with modern sensibilities, which is kind of what we get now with G.I. Joe figures and with Transformers figures, where they're doing redoing versions of their 1980s counterparts with updated, considerations. For example, Matt and Bruce here have got updated shoulder articulation and knee articulation. And they may have had knee articulation in the originals. To be honest, I can't remember off the top of my head, but certainly didn't have joints at the shoulders to make them open out sideways. They only had forward and backward movement as far as I remember. So they've updated them, and they are a slightly different scale. Whether that causes a problem once they're in the vehicle or not, we shall see. But yeah, I'm going to take a pause now while I put the stickers on, and then I can come back, and because my guess is this is where the wheels will come off for me, because I think I'm very aware that the sticker situation isn't something that they can fix without doing an entire new print run. So before I go and do that, just remains for me to say, if you're a bit of a fan of this kind of stuff and you like all of this and you don't currently subscribe to the channel, it would be great if you could drop a quick subscription to the channel. It's completely free. You absolutely can choose whatever it is that you want to watch moving forward. You don't have to watch everything, but it really helps me get to my next subscriber milestone. And also, if you haven't done, it would be tremendous if you could drop a like to the video, because it really helps boost it in the evil world of the venomous algorithm. So if you could do one or both of those things, that would be utterly amazing. And if you do drop a new subscription, go down to the comments and let me know, and I will pop in and say thank you very much and hello and welcome you to the channel personally, because you know what, I'm super grateful that you do that. Okay, if you are or you're not, that's either way is fine. Just don't touch that dial while I go away and sticker up my Rhino, which is not a phrase I thought I would be saying when I woke up this morning. See you in a tick. And so, as if by magic, here we are with the mobile defense unit, the Rhino, all stickered up. Now, a question I have for you. How accurate do you need your stuff to be? I was pondering this while I was applying these stickers, and you'll find out why in a second. I had two points of concern. Mostly, they've all gone on fine. Certainly with a bit of a 1980s vibe to them, because you're doing it manually, there's that slight human element of I'm going to get it slightly wrong. Now, the box, which I tend to use as a guide a bit for things like this, does not give me the information I need, unfortunately, in some respects. In other respects it did, because it starts off with 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are these ones here. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if other people have talked about this, but if they have, I haven't heard it. They're the wrong way round. They're printed the wrong way round. Because the through line is always, and because of how closely some of the deco is on some of the artwork on the box, it's the yellow purple I had to follow. So it goes yellow at the bottom, purple at the top. The other two then have to follow suit. But these are cut a certain way, and they then don't match what's on the box, and they then don't match the rest of the alignment. All the way around, everything else it is aligned. The only thing which isn't aligned is the scanner, and I thought, well, that's odd. But then it's actually because when it becomes active, you turn it round, then it is actually aligned with everything else because it goes yellow purple. Now that might not be something that bothers people. It's something that I am acutely aware of when I'm doing stuff like that. So these are cut at a slight angle to accommodate the nose of the Rhino. I'm going to call it Rhino, so forgive me. And also accommodate the chrome pieces here around the front horns. It fits. It's fractionally too long, but it also then allows you to get it nice and snug with that centre bit. So actually, it's okay. I can live with that. Door is fine. This piece is fine. You just take the cannon down in order to attach it. This piece is fine. This piece is a fraction too long, but my advice is attach it from this end, because you don't want it dangling off the edge. Attach it from this end, and you can cheat the end there by just sort of pressing it in a bit, so it gives you that extra little bit of indentation. But otherwise, it does fit. This side, you've got here, which we've talked about. Again, the door fits here. There's a standalone section which is attached for that front part, which I'll just move this out of the way slightly if I can, which fits in there, which is a little bit of an awkward sod, but it does work. You've got this bit here. Now, this bit I've had to cut. You can see it there, because this bit did not fit. This overshot by far too much, and I had no alternatives, so I had to cut it and then attach this bit so the overlap is on the top. Now, to be honest, this is arguably the back of the unit, so I'm slightly less bothered about it, but that shouldn't be something that I have to do on something that costs over 100 quid. That should fit. And arguably, this one is negligible. I mean, we're talking a millimetre, possibly less. But this way overshoots. So you have to literally cut it and do an overlap. which is unfortunate. And you can, I mean, I'm very aware that it's there, but by the same token, it is the only sticker related issue apart from the wrong way roundness of these. And before you ask, if you are asking, it's not simply a case of we'll just put them on the other way round. Because of how they're cut to fit the chrome, you can't. It's not a mirror situation. It would be the wrong end. They don't tally up. Because I thought about that and I went, oh no, that won't work. Now I also seem to recall on the original that when you open this out, now this could be wrong, I could be making this up. When you open this out, there was a bit in there. There was an additional sticker bit that was underneath there that gave the impression that this was one long compartment still. Now, I could have made that up, but part of me thinks I haven't. So I shall leave that with you. I've also noticed, so this is me moving it all around. Again, there's very limited places you can touch it. What I mean by that is there's very limited, you're going to hold it in a certain way when you're moving it. When you hold it in certain ways, you come into contact with pieces that therefore make those pieces move. And I've done that a few times. I'm really conscious of doing it. I do it with this one as well. But actually, it stays in place just fine. As long as I'm not actually constantly moving it, there's no issue with it. So everything here, sorry, that's falling down because I opened it. So that was my doing, not the Rhinos. So those tabs hold that segment in place. Everything holds it all in place. See, I just did it again with my finger. So that all comes together there. And there you have Rhino with its stickers on. I think I would have liked it if there were some stickers to go with on the back. I don't think there were originally. So, you know, there we are. That's just how it is. But I feel I would have liked something on the back of here, like a display or some controls or something. But we don't get that. So yeah, so we have Rhino in this mode, and now there you go. He's all transformed up into the mobile defense unit mode. And you know what? It does look good. I can talk about my disappointment around the stickers. It makes no odds. I can talk about my disappointment around Bruce's doodad mask. That does make a difference, and it does annoy me. But he can get away with using his lifter mask, and I will try and see if I can stretch that a bit with some hot water and who knows what else. I think this potentially is every bit as good as the other ones. And I even got Scott to fit onto T-Bob, and he rolls quite nicely on there. I didn't pull his arms out, but, you know, life's too short to worry about such things. We've got Bruce using that. It has got, you know, it's got some nice tilt to it because of that what do you call it? The multiple suspension, the dual suspension there. We've got the blast effects on the front, firing beautifully. We've got the mask computer bay open. We've got Matt in the back with ultra flash. We've got this extended. Bruce is driving the all-terrain vehicle. It's all happening, and it's all happening without me having too much of a neurological breakdown worrying about it. So I have to say, final thoughts on this, I actually love it. I'm so relieved. I am so relieved. I can't actually describe how relieved I am, particularly from the point of view of wanting to be able to display it. Because obviously I'm not, I mean, I say obviously, and I'm probably lying. I'm not going to say I won't play, because I know I'm going to play with them when I'm messing about with them, you know, and setting them up to for photos and things like that. So that's my equivalent of playing with them. But otherwise, it's a display piece. And I think as a display piece, it works. It really evokes the 80s for me. And I'm feeling a bit of collector guilt here, because I'm very aware that a lot of people have reported major problems with theirs. I know that I've got the issue with the sticker, but it's at the back. You can't see it, you know, and I know it's a lot of money and you shouldn't have to do it, but I've made worse mistakes applying normal fitted stickers myself, you know, so I can't really make too much of a comment about that in good faith, because I've done worse. So the fact I had to make a slight adjustment to make it fit, yes, it's frustrating at this price. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm over it quite quickly having done it. I think my biggest disappointment is Bruce Sato's mask not fitting, because I really do like how that looks in the short form version. So as I say, I'm going to deal with that. This isn't on a hair trigger, so I'm happy with that. And I've much like with Switchblade, I've learnt the handling of it now. So when I close it up, I know to close the top bit first and then click it into place, and that holds that in place pretty much. But for display purposes, it's probably going to be in this mode anyway. More often than not, it's going to be in this mode anyway. I just need Alex Sector. I do have my old Alex Sector figure, which I found quite by accident. So I could have him staffing the command center there. But, you know, the chrome on this is beautiful. The pre-existing detailing in the dash, in the sort of the cabin and in the computer bay, lovely. The wheels are lovely. The figures themselves are lovely. Again, they're a bit stiff. I'm not going to force it. All of that works really well. Bit disappointed about the articulation Scott gets and his slightly pallid complexion, but it's a bonus figure, I suppose. It's not really a bonus figure because you're paying for them in the cost. That's why it's more expensive. You know, it's part of the extra cost, so it's not much of a bonus. So it would have been nice if he'd had this at least the same articulation as his adopted dad. I do have one point of annoyance that goes along with the stuff I was telling you about the stickers. And this is just one of those silly little things that gets in the way of everything being just nice. It's all numbered, as you can see, except it isn't. This piece here isn't numbered. Now, it's a minor quibble, because it obviously doesn't matter, does it? Because it's obvious that there's only one piece that's not numbered, so that's the piece that's not numbered. It's piece 11. But why isn't it numbered? Why is that the one piece that's not numbered? Why would you have a piece that's not numbered? I don't understand it. Anyway, folks, happy to report that so far, so far, my mobile defense unit and the figures and the accessories, bar minor exceptions, it's all looking good. Now, I am going to live with this for a little bit, much like I've lived with the other ones. I'm going to get hold of, from Ghost Stands, I'm going to get hold of some of their translucent, the sort of the invisible stand things, because I think you can also get one for the mobile, for the all-terrain vehicle one, which makes it sort of look like it's jumping up, which I think is fantastic. Or maybe I can even get it to look like he's using lifter to lift it up. So I'm going to get those. I'm going to get all the Wave 1 stuff in, and I will do a sort of, as comprehensive as is possible to do, look at the first wave of the Law Subjects version of Mask from my perspective, because I know people have had terrible QC issues with theirs, and I am extremely lucky, and I acknowledge that has not happened so far with mine. What I'll also do, having lived with it for a little bit, will be I will come back and say to you, actually, having tried to use it for toy photography, having done this, having done that, I've discovered that this has now become really loose, or this now won't no longer click in, or this doesn't have, or they don't fit in there anymore, or his leg's fallen off, or whatever. Because I do know, I do remember that someone who will remain nameless, they might be watching this, had a Bruce with the same arm. They both of it, he had either two left or two right arms, and it looked, of course, ridiculous. But luckily, that hasn't happened to me. I mean, I do acknowledge that I think either I've been really lucky, or UK arrivals of this range, bearing in mind we have had an extended delay receiving these things, there's been some QA damage limitation. Now, I'm not saying there has been or there hasn't been. I don't know. But there might have been, which may explain why that's been the case for me so far. And I really hope that they've learnt from this, and that their Wave 2, which they have announced at the New York Toy Fair this very day, I think it was. I mean, we already knew what was coming, more or less, and I think they've dropped an additional surprise vehicle. And if you want to go and check that out, check it out. I'll talk about it when I do the overview of the Wave. Yeah, I'm hoping they've learnt from that, and they will just spend that little bit of extra time, or whatever it takes, to ensure that the quality of those vehicles are coming. I know, for example, I mean, they're all vehicles with one exception that I've had. So Gator was actually my very first MASK vehicle ever, before I even knew what MASK stood for or what it was all about. They were suddenly available, and I thought, well, I don't know what this is, but it looks exciting. And as a toy, I found it as a kid, and this is going to make me sound like a sport brat. I promise you I wasn't. And I know that that's what a sport brat would say, but I promise you I wasn't. I knew a couple of sport brats, and I wasn't, believe me. Gator, I thought, this is fantastic, really interesting. And of course, it's kind of a one-trick wonder. And once you do it, you kind of go, well, that's great. What do I do with it now? And I had nothing else to play with it with. It was, although there is some cross-compatibility, the figure sizes don't really lend themselves to anything. So it was a lot that my imagination was working overtime, fighting crime. Yeah, Gator is in that mix, so I really hope they don't screw that up. Piranha, which I think was my third vehicle after Condor. It was Gator, Condor, Piranha. After that, I can't remember, but I know those were the first three that I got. So yeah, Bubba Bum, Jackhammer I never had it, didn't really appeal to me, but I probably will get it now. Yeah, it just looks, and Hurricane, I think it's Hurricane, which again was one of my favorites. That was a birthday present. I got Hurricane before I got Rhino. But there's a couple that I never had that I always wanted, and one of those was the Volcano, which was the sort of motorized one. So I hope that's somewhere down the line. I'd kill to get one of those that works, but maybe not. Who knows what we'll get? Who knows if it'll go beyond Wave 2? If they don't get their act together on the international stage, it probably won't. This, I think, is their chance to turn it around with these ones. Fingers crossed it's going to work for them. But for me, my Wave 1 experience has been broadly positive. So I can't really say too much to the contrary. And I know some people might want me to, but I can't. I can only talk to, and you've seen me take it out of the box. You've seen me experiencing the various bits of it. You've seen what it's like. Now, again, as I say, I'll live with it for a few days, and then I shall do like a Wave 1 overview, just to sort of say, I've lived with it for all of them for a while now. This is my extended findings, and just to see if anything's got worse, if anything's got better, and so on and so forth. That's going to be it. I'm aware this is quite a long video, but it's a big piece with a lot of component parts, and unlike some things, I don't feel this is one I can sort of break down into installments. It kind of has to be an all-in video. So thank you for sticking with me if you have. If you haven't, well, I'd say goodbye, but you've already gone, so it's not worth it. But if you are still here, thank you so much for being my companion as I've taken you through the mobile defense unit of the Mobile Armoured Strike Command, aka Rhino, by any other name, along with Matt Tracker, Bruce Sato, Scott Tracker, and T-Bob, the all-terrain vehicle, the Ultra Flash, and the lifter masks, and the various blast effects, which again I think really do add to it and was things we didn't get the first time around. So me personally, big fan, really enjoying it. Really hope it doesn't come a cropper. Disappointed about the stickers, disappointed about the second lifter mask, but overall I'm veering around 7.5, 8 out of 10. So that's not bad. If I had to give it a score, which I don't usually do, but it feels like it's the sort of thing that I feel I need to for something like this. Anyway, once again, thank you so much. I've been the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector. This, as you know, has been Rhino, Mobile Defence Unit, from MASK, from the loyal subjects operating under licence from Hasbro. And it just remains for me to say that I very much hope to see you in a future video, and that things of beauty really are toys forever. Take care, and bye-bye for now.